I am Helice Bridges, but everybody calls me Grandma Sparky, and that's because I'm a spark. And I am the founder of Blue Ribbons Worldwide, and our mission is to unite humanity through the power of love, one child, one community, one country at a time. And because in our world that's so divided right now and so stressed out, how can we, in 60 seconds or less, be able to transform people from anger and apathy and alienation and violence to a world of possibility, proactivity, prosperity, and peace? And so that's what we're going to do today with my magnificent guest is Carmyn Hardt. And I met in Washington, D.C. In October of 2023, for all those that are watching, at the World Cultural Festival with 600,000 people from all over the world in 180 countries present to really engage in bringing peace and knowing that we are all here, that we are making that difference now. And unless you know people like that and have been there, you think you're isolated, you think it's not, the world is not going to get better, but people like Carmyn are making that difference. So Carmyn and I met at breakfast at our hotel with a bunch of women, great women. And what I fell in love with her is her expertise in mental health and restoring us, whether it's for her clients or let's say clients and patients, because in the hospital you work with patients, yes, and then you have your clients as well. So why don't you tell more about what you do? And by the way, it's her birthday today. Ha, cha, pa. That's what that rock and roll. I won't tell you the age, but unless she does. Okay. So tell everybody what exactly do you do, and what is the obstacles and opportunities that come up now to serve your clientele and your patients.
Oh, thank you so much, Grandma Sparky. It's so marvelous to be here with you. And I'm so grateful we met in Washington, D.C. I am a registered nurse and a marriage and family therapist. First of all, I work at a hospital. I am the transfer coordinator, running the department that does the admissions for a large mental health facility in the Bay Area. And so during the day, I'm communicating with emergency rooms and gathering information on people who have come into the ER asking for help, whether they are suicidal, having thoughts to harm themselves or someone else, or whether they are in so much distress, whether high energy or very low energy, with an inability to really cope with their life. And they come to the ER asking for support. And I review this material and communicate with the people that help facilitate this to get to admit them into the hospital. I work with children all the way down to 2 years old, all the way up through the lifespan.
May I ask you one question?
Sure.
At this time, by the way, she's wearing a blue ribbon that says "Who I Am Makes a Difference." I didn't mention that, but we will be able to honor everybody watching, and I will be able to honor Carmyn. But Carmyn, you mentioned something about it. You know, in the past there was a lot of people that came in, and what have you noticed lately about how many people are actually coming into the hospital? You know,
right.
Mental health issues.
Well, in the nearly 20 years I've been in the behavioral health center, excuse me, I would say that prior to 3 years ago,
yes,
perhaps we would have anywhere from 15 to 30 patients referred in a day. There, we kept busy, but it has changed a lot in the last couple of years. Yes. Yesterday, I had over 100 referrals. at least half of them were teenagers, and perhaps about 10% were children under the age 12 and under. So we have a great number more people who are referred for mental health support, behavioral health admissions than in the past. And it hurts my heart to see that happening.
This is Blue Ribbon Mental Health Month that we have never done before. We just always said Blue Ribbon Month and people I've interviewed, but this is Blue Ribbon Mental Health Month. It is so significant. I agree with you. As young as 5 years old, at least the statistics are now that the second leading cause of death ages 5 to 24 is suicide. And so tell me what is the process when they come in, and how can you guide them or so they can not only just cope, but see the greatness in themselves and be able to accelerate?
Well, in the hospital, when they come in, they talk with a psychiatrist, they talk with a social worker, they have family support. There are nurses and counselors with them 24 hours a day. Right. My facility is really a stabilization facility with a detox unit dealing with addiction recovery. And then we do have some outpatient services. But following the hospitalization, they are set up with therapy or psychiatry or both. Mm-hmm. And so in my private practice, I work with people that are continuing, growing, learning, working on communication, working on healing old trauma, dealing with their emotions so that they can feel better and thrive in their life. So there are so many different types of processes to help with that. And I was absolutely blown away by what you came up with years ago, because it touches the heart really deeply for someone to see you, for someone to look in your eyes and be able to see something positive and good. And to have that mirroring would make a world of difference for any of us, whether we think we're pretty healthy or we're struggling. This is just an amazing gift, what you have brought, and I'm so glad to have learned about this.
When you talk about this, because for a lot of people that are watching right now, they have no clue what we're talking about in that way, but you're wearing a blue ribbon that says "Who I Am Makes a Difference." And honestly, we did this ceremony around the breakfast table with, I think, about 14 of us, and I want to honor Catherine Sillery, our good friend, who is she has a conscious parenting revolution. It's her company, and she's amazing. And she really invited me to come to Washington, D.C., and you were there for the breakfast. And she said, Grandma Sparky, she called me up and said, I want to get to 1 billion people. And so Catherine said, sure, got me. I'm on board, just like that. And then she said, why don't you explain what you're doing to everybody? And so I did. I said, and I'm going to give you a little story, and then I'm going to bring you back to why this is important for what you're saying, because I think it's so, it's exquisite, because there's so many ways to get us our mental wellness. And it starts with being able to be seen and heard and recognized and loved and cherished and respected. And we don't have that. We're living in a punishment model that looks at blame and shame and complaining about ourselves, about others, or judging, rather than the possibility paradigm where we can look to what is working and honor the great people in front of us if they can't see it for themselves. Yes?
Absolutely.
So why adore, this will be a good time for me to honor you, because Carmyn, when we did, I said the only way to explain this is if everybody pairs up and takes 60 seconds each and honors each other with the blue ribbon. And then I went around after everybody did it, they were blowing their nose. We were all crying and smiling and just ecstatic. And I went around and interviewed everybody, and I filmed it on my iPhone. The great news is what everybody said didn't come out except for yours. And it was so good. And I went, well, you know, this is important for all of us. So for everybody watching, there's a 7-step ceremony that I created. And it's been 44 years in the making. So it's over 50 million people being impacted by this in 12 languages now. And Carmyn, I do have a blue ribbon just for you. And it says, who I am makes a difference. And I would love to honor you and tell you how you matter to my heart. You know, I don't speak in terms of mental health. I just have honored people and watched them flourish in 60 seconds or less and never knew how the heck that happened. I just was a gasper with it, and I would walk away going, wow. But I felt so good. It was, you know, it was reciprocal. And so why I want to honor you is because you in the mental health, you know, that you embody that every day, that you work with people, and that you saw the value of this acknowledgement ceremony was extraordinary for my heart and for our nonprofit organization to get everybody, 1 billion people honored. But more than that, the way you speak and the way you listen and the way you love is exquisite to me. And I just want to honor you for that inner beauty that you brought forth and touched me so deeply. Would you accept this gift?
Yes.
May I have permission to place it on you? Since you already have a ribbon, and I would normally do it virtually, it does go above the heart. I think I'm going to tip my thing right there. It goes up toward all your greatest dreams coming true. Tradition is that I take the spark from my heart and place it in the cheerleaders in this ribbon right here. It is a sound that makes dreams come true. And the sound is and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. And every time you hear a bing, you'll know that the child inside of all of us just got our dream, because it's collective. Every one of us turning and honoring another person. And tradition is that I pay it forward. I give you 2 extra ribbons. One, you honor somebody. It's got a sticky on the back. You can all see that now. And you can take the sticky off and put it up anywhere you want. But you get 2 extra ribbons, one to honor somebody, one to pay it forward. And so with that beautiful moment that we just had, which is, it's touching for me because we're in the moment. We didn't know I was going to do this at this time. We don't rehearse these kind of interviews, this interview with you. What is it that you just felt?
Thank you so much. You know, sometimes when we are out there in the world making a difference and giving our heart and putting ourselves out there, I'm not always thinking about myself and what's going on, although it's really important to experience my experience and feel what I'm feeling. And it's so nice to hear that I matter, to have someone share what they see. And it's encouraging and motivating to just keep on. And I feel loved. I feel special. I feel excited to continue sharing in this. And thank you. I got your 2 ribbons.
Carmyn is in our Standing Strong Together community building leadership training certification right now. She'll graduate in a few weeks. And and all the people, whether you're a teen or an adult, have been hand selected to come into this program with me, which is only 2 hours a week, because you're at this level. You have to be at the level of who you be already, not what you do, but who you be as a human spirit. If you're loving and supportive and nurturing and caring, but you're grounded and you're wise, and you see the big picture, but we're one person at a time, being with each person. I go, this is a training for you, for anybody that wants to get involved with this. I will post our website and my email at the end, where you'll see it at the bottom. But let me ask you this question. What is the biggest issue that people have when they come in to you in your private practice? Because it ranges. But do you see something that's always, that you hear it, first up? What's the thing that I think is most overwhelming and troubling and stressful for folks?
I would say the most common thing is they are coming to see who they are, where they haven't, in their growing up experiences, in their current relationships, they know there's more to who they are. They know that they feel and they want and they need and they think about things that they haven't expressed, and they want to be authentic and loving and connected, and they're looking for a space to uncover and dig down and figure out things that they know that they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is, but they have like a yearning or a longing or a sense that there is something that I'm not seeing, that I'm not getting, that I don't know yet. And I want to see, I want to experience.
Yeah. So what I'm understanding, and also, with the pandemic, where everybody got isolated, and then they started to look at, why am I at that job? Why am I going to that school? Why am I around those kind of people? and then who am I? I think I'm saying that for myself. I'm making that assumption that when we get isolated, we have to stop and pause. It's like you say, when you're doing something, going to work, you don't think about yourself. But when you're isolated, maybe we do. I don't know. It just seems, what you're just saying was something different than what I was even thinking. Because my experience, and every time I honor somebody, is I realize that they'll say, you're the first person that ever told me that I mattered. And that is about 95% of the time. And they'll cry. Nobody's ever told me I mattered. And if that happens over and over, and I think education, at least for me, every time my teacher graded me, and if I got something wrong, they would put a red mark and they go, 3 wrong. They didn't say 10 right. They said 3 wrong. And I was always wrong. And I could never catch up. And I didn't know that it was subtle. And so the punishment model is what I call it. It's like, I think it's for me, it's what I call negative quicksand. It just, no matter what you try to do, you can't breathe enough to feel that you matter enough. And so when they come in, what I was thinking that you might have said in addition to that, as the first, is the stress level of what's going on in the world. You're watching television. I mean, at one point it was like, cosmetics and getting dressed right, and just, getting a job interview. And now it's everybody's at war. Does that affect the people when they're speaking to you as well, when they're seeing so much bad news?
Absolutely. one of the things that we do as humans when we're in pain or fear
Yes.
is what I would say one of the coping strategies that we will fall into is distraction or
Mm-hmm.
avoidance or pretending not to know, or so many different types of distraction. And that is probably one of the biggest things that in my private practice we look at. What are the behaviors that have you not feeling, not seeing, not looking? And we do release work around the fear or the anger, the sadness or the guilt or the shame, the stories that people have made up about themselves. I don't matter. I don't have value. Um, that's such a big topic. I could say so much about that. I don't make a difference. I'm not wanted. Those are huge underlying stories that we have experienced through things that have happened. And in the world where there's war and so much conflict and COVID and social isolation, the level of fear has gone up. And I think that's a large part of what has so many people presenting for behavioral health services. So does that answer your question?
Yes, and it's really important for all of us to see. It includes me as well, by the way. I mean, I'm on this planet, and I can withdraw, and I can get in denial, and I can get like flatline, and I cannot know who I am in this moment. And I have to reach out to my colleagues and my mentors, and those I just did that this morning actually for an hour and a half, or yesterday for an hour and a half with one of my board members, and I said I am stuck right now. And he is, he's retired, but he's sold his giant company, and he's a coach of coaches. He's brilliant for business and also for the inner work. And he spent an hour and a half with me till we got to the where I was. And a lot of it is exactly what you said. It's, I can be masterful at a certain level, and then I can go to the next level and not know who I am. Like, it's like our world just keeps opening up. And so I'm going to speak to that with you for just a moment. And something is coming up for me to say about the acknowledgement part and how giddy everybody is when we get honored. I just spoke to my oldest grandson. We hardly talk in the years that he's been growing up. He's in Florida. I'm in California. He's always doing something, and I don't get there very often. And so we haven't had this close relationship. But my son said that my grandson that is graduating college now, and he's really doing well in school, but he has no clue who he's going to be in the world. And he said, it's just like how kids are. And I realized, no, that's not how kids are. They just don't have the tools and the training and the people that can empower them and support them. It hasn't been. How do you discover your purpose if you're just supposed to get a diploma and go out? And what does education do for us? And so I happened to call him out of the blue, and he picked up the phone. And I said, hi. And he said, hi, Grandma. Like we were talking all the time. And I said, I have an idea for you. I'm on a committee called K's Discover Your Purpose, and we have a free curriculum. And I understand you're going to be graduating. Maybe you want to do this with me, and we'll co-discover our purposes and our passion. And he goes, I love it. He said, why don't we do it over breakfast Saturday? And I went, okay. And he said, Grandma, I really admire you a lot because I've always thought you were intelligent. And I went, okay, thanks. And I hung up and I went, what? I'm a ribbon-pinning lady. I've been walking around honoring people for years. And how did he get that? I never knew. And I'd say that just when I honored you, we don't know how valuable we are to somebody else. So you mentioned a lot about not knowing and not knowing who we are. And when we don't know that we don't know anything, we know what we know. I'll give landmark education that benefit of that language. I don't know if that's true for you. Have you done that work or not?
I have done something similar. I first saw that at foundations.
Okay, so who that conversation that's out in the world is something that we're not awakened to. So explain it more about what we don't know that we don't know, and then like that, go with that, express that a little bit more deeply.
Okay, so there's things that I know about me, and there's things that I don't know about me. There are things that you know about me that I know, and there are things that you know about me that I don't know.
Sure.
So if you draw it in a square and you draw 2 lines and you take the top left side and that's up along the top, you put I know.
Right.
And on the left column, you put you know.
Yes.
Then the top left square is I know it and you know it.
Right.
So you know that I speak English and I know that you speak English and we both know.
Right.
Then over to the right, if I'm looking at the okay, top left square, I know it, you know it. To the right, I don't know it, but you know it. So you might see something about me that I haven't seen.
Yes.
And then if I go down bottom left, I know it, but you don't know it. So actually on the column, the top square is you know it, the bottom square is you don't know it. On the top across row is top left is I know it, and on the right is I don't know it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then bottom left square is I know it, but you don't know it. So it's something about me that I know, but I haven't shared that with you yet. So to increase what we both know, I would share and you would know more about me, or
Yes.
you would share and I would know more about you. There are things that you know about me that I don't know about me. And the way that I could learn those things is for you to give me feedback. You could say, Carmyn, I see such and such. And it might be what's working feedback, what's working in my life. It might be what's not working.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would know more about me.
Sure.
And then the bottom right corner is I don't know it and you don't know it. But as we share information about each other to ourselves, to each other, and we give feedback about what's working, what's not working, and what's missing, what we could add in, those boxes expand so that what we don't know, that we don't know, becomes a smaller space.
So let me just say this for all those that are listening. I think that when we have clashes with our kids, clashes with our bosses, clashes with our spouses, all of that, what I think I'm hearing you say is, I only know who I know, and if I don't think I'm enough, let me just start out with that. Okay. Everything that anybody says to me is going to come from, yeah, but I'm not enough yet. This is me talking out loud. I'm just saying what basically and so I can be triggered very quickly. I can get angry. I just want to have you know to honor me, and maybe you do, and I can't even hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And then even if I want to apologize and you're just mad at the world or mad at me or mad at whatever, you can't hear the acknowledgement I'm giving you. Mm-hmm. So what you're doing is a therapist, would I say, or is how's a therapist? We need people like you that can help us hear each other, know each other, in a new way. And when we value, when I'll just give you for instance, in my own work, is that when I was in Iowa, yes, and that's corn, a lot of corn, and I went from a lot of schools, and I was teaching, and one of the counselors called me later when I got back home, because I'm in California, and he said, all the students, when they come in, they usually come in because they're being punished or they did something wrong. They come to the counselor's office. And he said, I have the blue ribbon up on my wall, and I point to it. And he told me this. He said, I point to it and I say, read that. And they'll read it, who I am makes a difference. And he said, now tell me all the ways you make a difference.
Fabulous.
And then they go, well, I don't know. And I'll say, well, aren't you a blah, blah, blah? Aren't you good at this? Or you're always reading and whatever. And he goes, oh yeah, I'm a good reader. Or I help my mother because she has cancer right now. Or all of the things that want to pour out of that young soul's heart. He's the listener. And he said, after that, he said, the referrals went down by about 75%. And the kids that come just wave at me and say, can I come in and tell you how great I am?
I love that.
So he passed that forward. You can't know what a simple conversation is, but also you need to be surrounded by a therapist like you, or that can draw out, like you're saying, all of the things that have blocked us and stopped us along the way. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes.
And that causes, let me say, it causes me to freeze. Like I can do my work, I'll look like I'm doing 100 million different things. People will love me and say, oh, I'd love to be like Grandma Sparky. Well, look at her energy. And I'm sleeping for 10 hours. They don't know I'm sleeping for 10 hours.
That's great.
That's the truth. I was like, it's like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do next. And then something in me still brings something great forward, because I have to quiet myself. Tell me what, I don't want to bring up politics, but I am right now, because it's just in my, there's a split. It's like, it's just completely 50-50. Everybody's right about everything. What is it? Have you come up against that in your, with your clients at all? And if so, what do you recommend about that?
I would say with clients, with family, with friends, it's kind of all around us.
Yes.
Good
question, I know.
That's a very good question. What comes up for me is having people look at how they're being. And a lot of times I hear in those types of conversations that are conflictual, the judgments, yes, and the I'm right, I'm wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, my idea is better, this particular perspective is better, and you guys, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
So I don't address the political specifics. If I am in a conversation with someone about that, I encourage them to look at how they're being.
Okay.
Because if they're being judgmental, or they're being righteous, like I'm right, you're wrong, they're being superior, they're being arrogant or judgmental, and they're judging the other side for being the same way.
Exactly.
And so are both sides being judgmental? Are both sides being righteous? I'm right, we're the best, we're right, you guys are wrong. How can we be peaceful? How can we be accepting? How can we, I think a lot of it has to do with fear. If you aren't like me, we can't be close. If
Okay.
you don't think like I think, we can't have a relationship. If you think you're better than me, it creates distance. And the same in the world. And this, one of the things I absolutely love about our ribbons,
Yes.
because when I can see you, I can see underneath some belief you have, to your heart, to your love, to your caring for your family, to your desire to be who you are meant to be, to live your purpose, to know what your purpose is. We may have a different purpose. We may have different perspectives on how we would get to whatever our goal is. But we all have obstacles. We all have things in the way, whether it's physical or mental or spiritual. And we're all human, and we're so much more alike than we are different.
You hit on
Or
so much. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. I'm wondering if what I just said is accurate.
No, it is
Um,
accurate. Here's what I'm hearing, and so we can all hear this, is that the families, so many families are separated. Even I have a situation where, you know, something very dear to me and my family, and we're split. You know, it's like I got shocked by the fact that I don't. We didn't even have a disagreement. It was just that I didn't know how to respond to a way of what is this right or wrong, black or white. And I'm not a black and white person. I'm a person that likes to listen and find out more and more and more, so that I can just hear who you are and be able to empower whatever you need.
yeah.
I don't just say, no, you're right and you're wrong. I haven't lived in that space for 44 years, since I've gone through so many personal development courses and learned that, you know, the human beings are here. You know, we're heart to heart. So that happens for me as well. And I think that what I heard you say is that you mentioned about being, about knowing who we are. When we first started, people come and want to know who they are. And if we know who we are, the seed that gets planted in our soul, it's always goodness. It is, in my experience, it's never, I want to do something bad in the world. It's, I just want to be who I'm supposed to be, and have and live the passion that I'm feeling. I have an urgency inside to do something and make my difference and be heard and respected and loved for that. Basically, bottom line is my experience over the years. And what we're saying is this: when you're doing your work, it does take time over time. I mean, it's not like the ribbon maybe I say it unzips the energy and makes you feel that I can pour my heart out to you, or I feel loved by you. And in that space, boy, I'll tell you something that matters hugely. If the teacher honors the kids in their classroom, they feel loved.
Absolutely.
If a child comes home and honors their parents and says, I really love you, they feel finally loved. They're working so hard to do the right thing for their kids and maybe have 2 or 3 jobs. But the children come home and tell their parents, I just want you to know I'm thanking you for cooking and cleaning and doing your work, and I love you. And boy, that's it. The parents start to bawl. And we really need to be fueled with the love and recognition. And I want to speak to something that just came up. Most for what in the ceremony that we do, and I'm going to bring this up, that while I'm honoring you and asking you if you receive it, most people do not know how to receive recognition. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So even if I give it to you, I can't receive it because in the early days you would say something about, oh, I love your smile, or I love your whatever. And I say, yeah, but I have a split, my teeth. I got my teeth fixed, so there's no split, but I have a split in my teeth. Okay. I would always go to what I didn't have, or my hair doesn't look good today. I got a zit on my face or something. Yes. You could
Yes.
tell me anything good about me and I would discount that.
Push it away.
Absolutely. And I didn't know how to take it in. And I'll speak to the ability that I said to you that you're a great listener. I said that earlier. And that's what a good therapist does, is being asked the right questions. Yes.
Yes.
And listen and feed it back enough that I could hear what you're talking about, because I need a safe place. And you're extremely gifted at that. And I realized that when we created the ribbon ceremony, we had 35,000 people were honored in the first 3 months I started it. That was the great news. The other news is I didn't know who I was yet. I was like, a butterfly that, or I was in the cocoon, and I was all of a sudden a butterfly, and I go, hello, what's going on here? And what I sent everybody out, and I said, go out. I had 12 people, kids, adults, grandparents, business people, and I said, here's a bag of ribbons, go out and honor people, come back and tell me what works and what could be improved. And what they said is the 7-step ceremony that we created. And they said, well, nobody liked to be just put upon. I got something and I want to give you this ribbon. They go, how much money you want for it? What religion is it? Okay, all that would come up, and they say, and they would then, and we went through what people wanted and what people didn't want. They didn't want to be, you thought you had a great idea and you want to hug them right away, and they go, by the way, this is all the stuff I did wrong anyway. And also I realized that, so we sat down and we realized that very few people knew how to receive the recognition. People could give it, if they weren't frightened, if they didn't think that they were going to be judged by how weird it is. I mean, I've created this ribbon, so I know that it was, I felt, I was scared to even honor anybody for fear I was going to get rejected. There's a lot that comes up around. I have people that can speak to 2,000 people in an auditorium on a main stage. Some of you would know. And they said, I couldn't pin one ribbon. It's too intimate for me. So I've received all that. But I believe what we might be saying now is the being that you're talking about is the true honest. You said it about authenticity and vulnerability.
Yeah.
It is the opportunity in 60 seconds or less to just tell somebody from your heart how much you honor them. But it does have the I am affirmation, and it says, I have a blue ribbon, and it says who I am makes a difference. So you're honoring yourself first. That takes a long time for me to have learned and discovering, and I keep doing that, discovering myself. So in a few moments that we have left, if you could give us just a way to cherish ourselves more during these times, a way that if we were alone, or things that are coming at us, whether you're an adult or a young person or a teenager, business person, whomever, how would you do that?
I would say take a few moments to write down. I would prefer the person write it down, because then they not only think it, but they also physically move their hand so they feel it and they see it. And they can also say it out loud so they hear it. So the more senses we use, the more we can access our learning. And I would say write down the the things you tell yourself about yourself,
Yeah.
the beliefs you have, whether I don't know that I'll make a difference. I can't give out this blue ribbon because someone might laugh at me.
Yes.
I feel embarrassed. I nobody wants to listen to me. They won't believe me if I say it. I've done something wrong, so I have to clean that up before they're going to hear me. Whatever the
Whatever it
stories
is.
are. Mm-hmm. Because
So
we all have stories.
yeah. So I did this exercise yesterday. Thank you.
Can I
I
say
really,
one?
yeah, go ahead.
Can I say one more thing? So
Sure.
after they write that down, then next to that, write down how could it be? What is another empowering interpretation and empowering belief that I could say to myself and see it from another angle?
So to repeat what you just said is, it is that whatever emotions that we have and anything that we're feeling, to write it down, whatever it is. Like I I forgot to wash the car yesterday, and I think that my car looks too dirty, and I'm going to have my people over, or to I'm not feeling good, to I'm not making enough money, to whatever it is, whatever is emotion that you're feeling, write it down. And then on the opposite, across from it, let's say, or wherever, is to redefine it in a way that would move you forward.
Yes.
Like, okay, uh, by next week, I'm going to find a way to wash the car, or tomorrow I'm going to wash the car, or whatever it is that I'm always having a clean car, or whatever affirmation or way that will move us forward. Would that be correct?
Yes.
And I think what you're saying is extremely valuable. We're going to leave everybody with that. I'm going to honor everybody that's watching with the blue ribbon, but I want to just speak to what you just said. Is I just did this yesterday. We all get stuck. I can do it in a million times. Let me do it every month if I remember. But when my coach came to me and went through it, he knows me for many years, through thick and thin. And he kept driving in there, and I realized that at 81 I'm not the same as I was at 80 or 79. I have different things that are happening around me, for my body, my mind, my spirit, the things that I could go after when I was 50 and just jump up. And I do it a different way now, but I might have to sleep for 10 hours after. There's just things that go on inside of my spirit that might have me thinking less and being. So I have upsets too, and I need to get somebody that what I don't know that I don't know can cough it out of me. And I'm at this place where I'm a teacher and a learner. I'm a expert in unconditional love. I love myself. I love others unconditionally, except when I don't. It is what it is, right? And I'm constantly learning. So for all of us that are in the boat where we don't know that we don't know yet, and we're wanting to be around people that build us up instead of put us down, and starting with our own self, we just need support. We need mentoring. We need coaches. We need therapists. We need to do whatever it takes to go. If you got a Tesla car and it's going to be out of juice, you got to go plug that sucker in, that electricity in, or that magnificent $100,000 car ain't going nowhere. And it's the same for us. If we aren't going nowhere, we need to plug in someplace that's going to give us the juice. And or at least get somebody to drive us there. if we don't have any juice, okay? So with all of us watching right now, this is a blue ribbon for everybody watching. It's a blue ribbon for all of you. It says, who I am makes a difference. And I would love to honor you for being a learner, a discoverer of your own inner self, of realizing that you deserve to get a mentor, a coach, a support system, a listening to a podcast, or whatever it is. that will take you to the next level. But for right now, just know that you matter, that I love you. I love you just the way you are, and I empower you to go for your dreams. And would you accept this blue ribbon? Yeah, yes, love it. And may I have permission to place it on you? Yes. I place it above your heart, and it points up to all your greatest dreams coming true. And the tradition is there's cheerleaders in this ribbon cheering you on for your dreams. And in order to get everybody jumping for your dreams, it's tradition that I take the spark from my heart, put the spark into your cheerleaders. It's a sound. It makes dreams come true. And this sound is in a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Bing. And every time you hear a bing, you'll know that a child within us just got our dream, because we're hanging around people that build us up instead of put us down, point to what's working instead of what isn't, and unite humanity through the power of love. I invite you to go to Blue Ribbons, BLUERIBBONS.org, and check out our website, watch our Blue Ribbon movie, order ribbons, and you can connect with me at Sparky, SPARKY, at Blue Ribbons, BLUERIBBONS.org, and email me and say, Grandma Sparky, I'm interested for my school programs, for our corporations, organizations. How can we do this ceremony? How can I learn? How can I be a graduate of Standing Strong Together and help us lead this community, country, and world so that people are valued, respected, and loved? Yes, that's what I have to say about that. I'm going to say goodbye. By the way, the science behind the blue ribbon is pretty spectacular. So I'm not going to tell you that now, but Carmyn, you're going to discover, and we're going to talk about that this Thursday in our class about the science behind the ribbon. And you will probably bring more science to that so that we can share it with the world. In 60 seconds or less, there's a lot of science behind how this ribbon really works. How about that? I'll leave you hanging.
Wonderful. And I hear lots of bings in the universe. The universe is binging and binging for us.
When you see a whole school, and we're working on a project right now that I'm going to go to Denver, Colorado next month, and you will see about 1,000 kids in a school, in a middle school, all binging each other and honoring each other and honoring their teachers and honoring their parents and honoring their siblings. And that bing is really exciting because it's like, this whole sucker is so different. It's how do you enhance mental health? Well, there's a lot of ways to do it personally, and just have that energy of a bing. It's funny, it's humorous, but laughter is the best medicine. And very few of us are laughing nowadays. So we get to have everything in that 60-second ceremony. I'm getting honored. Go.
You are getting honored. Grandma Sparky, I have this blue ribbon, and it says, who I am makes a difference. And may I honor you?
Absolutely.
I am in awe and gratitude for your love and your creativity and your beauty and your spark and your dancing and singing and your generous, gargantuan heart. And I'm so grateful and blessed to have you in my life and to be mentored by you and be gifted this amazing, simple, but magnificent way to bring love to people in the world. And absolutely save lives. So thank you so much for this. And we put this above the heart, pointing up, because it because your dreams come true in that direction. And so may I place it on your heart?
Absolutely.
So here you go. I'm sorry, I have somebody knocking on my door.
That's all right. I receive this. I respect it. And give me a bing, and then you go. Okay.
And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a bing.
I receive it. Honestly, I receive it.
Thank you. And the world has been telling us that there are many others acknowledging you as well while we have been talking.
I love you dearly. I will email you. God bless.
All right. See you later. Bye.
That's awesome. Very